I live about 5 minutes from Beverly Hills. There's a lot of affluent people here, a lot of affluent families. Anytime I encounter a teenager, they've had most likely the Beverly Hills experience. What does that mean? That means travel to international countries, maybe speak a couple of languages, most likely have people come into their home and like a maid or landscaping and all these other services. In this vicinity, everyone lives that way. They can't understand a different life. If you're the child, you may not see much poverty. You may think poverty only exists due to laziness or due to lack of creativity. That's what I would assume too if I grew up in that setting. You may think that your identity, like whatever identity that may be, is a big deal, but you may not really consider like food insecurity a big deal, which it should be a bigger deal, or homelessness, or other problems that the country faces. How can you have that sense of perception if you grew up in an affluent area? Why do we work so hard if not to provide our kids with the best opportunities? While providing our kids with the best opportunities, how can we also give them a great sense of perception? That is a difficulty, because how can they relate with the experience that a poor person has? How are they gonna get the grit or the creativity when you have $7 but you have to feed 3 kids? How can you get that creativity? But there are other advantages. They can do more long-term thinking, possibly, or have better health habits. They've never been able to eat a lot of processed food and like Fruity Pebbles and all the stuff that I grew up eating. It's just something to think about, like how do you give a rich kid perspective? I know a lot of poor people have the opposite problem. How do they have a rich person's perspective and be able to think more long term instead of short term, just day to day? But these are privileges that you don't really have if you're in poverty. So the first step to get out of poverty is get some money and study. Try to emulate or watch what rich people do, because life is difficult, and then if you're in poverty or living day to day, it's even more difficult. The point is get money and watch what the wealthy do, so then you can have the other problem, which is how to raise children with a sense of perspective, like worldly perspective, not just Beverly Hills perspective.